Irish Senator Lisa Chambers recently commented that there are many topics that many of us are afraid to talk about publicly. In a democracy, in any society, this is very worrying. And I believe it is the case for Western democracies today that there is an atmosphere of fear and repression in the air. And it's subtle because in your everyday life, day-to-day life, everything seems to be going fine. But ask yourself the question, are there topics that you or your friends or colleagues are afraid to talk about or to mention, except along the lines of the accepted narrative? Well, I think there are, at least in my experience, there are topics like transgender ideology, the use of puberty blockers in adolescence, abortion, assisted suicide, anything to do with the pandemic measures or the vaccines. All of these issues are kind of covered over with a cloud of fear. And it's really regrettable because silence about important issues, covering over the awkward and troubling questions, will only bring us to a very dark place. Do you think that Hitler would have been successful in his rise to power if ordinary Germans and high-ranking Germans of the administration had spoken out against him and spoken out against his vile anti-Semitic ideology? If they had spoken out early, I don't think so. I don't think that he would have been able to rise to power in the way he did if people had broken the silence. And a similar thing happened with communism. And pretty much any form of totalitarianism depends on this wall of silence. It depends on the fear and citizens not breaking the silence. So I think it's time for us to consider our duties as citizens and as human beings, to consider carefully whether we are part of that wall of silence, whether we are staying quiet on the important issues that affect the future of our children, the future of our society. As a wise man once said, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing.